Welcome back. We are so excited to bring on our first guest, Mr. Brad Lockhart, creator of the Bellingham Flag. Come on up, Brad.
Kristina.
Kevin. Good to see you.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah. So I'm really excited because I've been working with you for the past few years and seeing this entire flag come to fruition, and now it's indoctrined to our everyday way of life.
Absolutely.
So, congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Been a fun journey, and I feel like sometimes the flag lulls and then comes back up, and I feel like right now it's really on the upswing. A lot of new people using it in different exciting ways. Just today, a member of the Bellingham Fire Department sent me she customized her screen for her firefighter visor with the Bellingham flag.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I was like, man, that's so awesome. Like, that's exactly what I like to see it be used for. So.
Yeah, number 88.
Yeah,
I saw it.
yeah,
it's awesome.
It's just the best usage of that sort of symbol. Really excited.
So why flags, Brad?
Why flags? Yes. You know, the answer years ago would have been I don't care at all about flags. But over the past few years, it's just become this weird, huge part of my life. I've come from a creative background, so I studied graphic design in college. I've been doing professional logo design and poster design over the last 10 years or so. But it wasn't really until I got invited to design a flag for the unofficial contest that I kind of started thinking about flags and looking at flags. And now I'm become what the word is, a vexillologist. So it's a person that is an expert, or sort of expert, but someone who cares a lot about flag design and flag history. And so now I pay attention to just about every flag I see. I can't even see an American flag without wondering, like, is that poly cotton blend? Is that, you know, nylon? Like, is that stitched? Like, oh, was that, how many stars are on that? Is that before, you know, Hawaii or whatever? Like, it's weird. Every single flag I see now, I pay attention closer to. And, but it all kind of comes back to that, like, graphic design, logo design, iconography design sort of history. And yeah, that's just a huge part of my life now.
Well, and it's also, too, because of, I guess, you focusing on things, the creating identity for everything. And so that, for Bellingham, has had an adoption process. And so what has that been like with the flag?
With the adoption process of the flag? Yeah, it's been like a long, slow journey, but like I said, it has like little highlights along the way. You know, like from the beginning, it was an unofficial symbol created by you know, a nonprofit, the Bellingham Partnership. But then it was sort of handed to me from them when they couldn't promote it anymore. So then it was kind of my sort of task or my kind of project. Then, once I put it out into the public domain a few years ago, then it kind of became the people's project. So I feel like it kind of gets handed around to different people. Right now, you know, you see it a lot in the government, and so the government now is kind of using it since the adoption. So it's kind of like changed hands a lot. But every time it changes hands, I think it also stays in your hands. Like, okay, I'm not going to worry about it as much, let somebody else promote it, but it's still like my symbol. So it just kind of slowly, you know, spreads out.
Right.
Yeah.
So you not only have the flag, or get to take credit for it, the Bellingham flag, but also the city seal?
Yeah, not everybody knows that, but a couple of years ago, I redesigned the city seal of Bellingham, which you see on the vehicles and on the water bills, regrettably enough, when it shows up in my mail.
Water bill.
Like, I made that. But it also shows up on checks sometimes too, which is nice. So
And
that's
I get that.
Yeah,
see?
exactly. So, yeah, that was kind of an unofficial process. Basically, I was working at Faith Life here in town, one of the sponsors or presenters here, and the CEO asked me if I could kind of use the lessons and the skills that I learned from the flag to redesign the seal, which I did. I just kind of cleaned it up, simplified it a bit, and added the colors from the flag and some of the graphic elements. And so now the two really connect really well, which is nice. You can see them. Sometimes they are right next to each other, but they don't clash, which is really good. And so it's a nice, solid visual identity.
Yeah, it's a good synergy. I like the way it kind of combines. So I tell you what, I think we have a little reel about what it is that you do with the Bellingham flag. And
Yeah, the creation of the flag or the meaning and everything.
Yeah. So why don't we just take a little break and let's take a look at that.
My name is Bradley James Lockhart from Bellingham, Washington. I am a graphic designer, animator, vexillographer, and part-time musician. In the city of Bellingham, I am most well known for creating the Bellingham Flag, as you see here. 4 years ago, I was invited to participate in an unofficial flag design contest. Having a lot of vested interest in this community, especially the creative community, I was really excited to participate in the design contest. I sketched it over and over again in a notebook, brought it onto a computer, made a vector version of it where I could adjust the colors and the shapes. I would add elements like raindrops and trees, and then take them away, just kind of ramp them up and ramp it down and kind of distill it to as powerful as it could be. It's a great opportunity to kind of cohesively wrap us all together. The Bellingham flag has 4 main parts. One is a large blue field for Bellingham Bay, 2 white 4-sided stars for the Lummi Nation and the Nooksack tribe, 3 wavy lines, which is a symbol of the word Whatcom. Whatcom translates to noisy waters. 4 green stripes for the original towns of Bellingham. That's Whatcom, Seaholme, Bellingham, and Fairhaven. And if you fly the flag vertically, then the wavy lines become a depiction of Whatcom Falls itself. I didn't think that the Bellingham flag would ever even be officially adopted. I had my fingers crossed that that would happen. There was a lot of formal steps, resolutions and approvals from the Lummi and the Nooksack tribe, which we wanted to make sure that that was okay since we had symbols on there that represented them. But I certainly didn't know that not only would it be adopted, but it would be used by hundreds of people in different ways. It's been crocheted into clothing, it's been printed on sportswear, tattoos, t-shirts, stickers, hats. Flag design has 5 basic principles, as outlined in this very handy pamphlet, Good Flag, Bad Flag. Those are to keep it simple. A flag should be so simple that a child can draw it from memory. Use meaningful symbolism. 2 to 3 basic colors. No lettering or seals, and be distinctive or be related. I love the opportunity to speak at schools to not only tell the story of how the flag was designed and adopted, but to just give an example, real-world examples of how you can be a creative person today and earn a living. As a kid, I necessarily wasn't told about graphic design or logo design or digital animation, and industries that are only getting bigger now. And so I love the opportunity to go speak and to kind of pull back the curtain on something that we might see every day and explain that it actually wasn't that hard to make something like this happen, and that you can too, basically. One thing I love about seeing the flag out there in the wild is that it's like a little connection between me and a stranger, even though they don't even always know that it's me. But also that connection is bigger because it connects like civil servants to citizens. It connects old people to young people. Obligation, I think, is really the word, to each other and to this place. So it's a symbol of I care about you because you live here, and I care about the environment, I care about the community. I feel like the Bellingham flag itself is like a symbol of kind of promise and obligation.
Thank you to First Federal for making that segment possible. I feel like we should clap for that one too. Now, one of my favorite new topics of discussion is Orca Face.
Orca Face.
Can we talk about the orca in the room?
Yeah, the origin of Orca Face. Basically, just last summer, pretty recently, the Seattle Times kind of kicked off this initiative to redesign the City of Seattle flag. So I had this very thoughtful, serious design that I came up with that was an emerald and some stripes, and it represented the water and the hills and the history. And the Times ran it and they liked it, but then The Stranger, which is a much more wacky kind of arts and culture music magazine, was like, we're gonna run our own contest. So I was like, well, here's the orca, sorry, not orca, I sent the emerald to them, but then I was like, I just had these other ideas brewing. One was like a salmon skin, and one was like a giant orca's face. So I made this simple design. It was just 2 overlapping circles that created this face. I sent it to them, and they became obsessed with it. Like, from day one, they promoted it, they wrote blog posts about it. People started making their own fan Twitters that had hundreds of followers. And like, here was this thing that I really cared a lot about, and then this thing, this joke, just skyrocketed above it. It ended up getting thousands of more votes than the Emerald, which also got selected, so they were both in the top 10. But But then at the end of the day, I had to tell them the truth. Like, okay, that was a joke one that I made, and they're like, oh no. So they both got kicked out in the end, which was sad. But it was just an unofficial thing. It was just for fun, and I think the Orca was an accidental good flag design. Like it was just a playful, weird face, but people really loved it. So now it kind of exists in stickers and flags, and some people in Seattle, I see it in bars in Seattle and stuff. So some people love it, and so yeah, it's great. Oops.
Right? Well, it also didn't hurt the fact that you had two different names behind that.
Yes.
You had Brad as
I
the
had
one.
Brad Lockhart and Chet Clapper was my alias, which is very, very real sounding name.
Right.
But yeah, chetclapper@gmail.com. Hit me up if you want some orcas or whatever.
Almost specialize in them. That is amazing. So after Orca Faces and Emerald Flags, you, I imagine, are talented in other aspects?
Yeah, so one of the main things that I do nowadays is animation, so 2D graphic animation. That was my job for a few years, and now I do it freelance through my own studio. This last summer, I animated a 20-minute kids cartoon, and I just did an advertisement from a studio from New York, and I just kind of pick up little pieces here and there, but that's kind of become one of my main sources of income is motion graphics animation. I also teach sometimes part-time at Western. Should be coming back next year to do 2D motion graphics.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think we actually have a couple samples of that as well.
Yeah.
Some of your amazing work. If we could take a look at that.
I know, right? What don't you do?
A little bit of everything.
I know. You know what? I so appreciate you being here. I think you're awesome. I can't wait to see what you do in the future. You're just an awesome person. Thanks for bringing the flag to us.
Thank you for everybody.
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.